We often think moving on means pretending we're fine, faking smiles, or burying the pain so deep that no one can see it. But moving on isn't about denial. It's about courage. It's about letting yourself walk through the fire instead of running from it. The truth is, you cannot heal what you refuse to feel. And you cannot step into your future if you're still chained to the weight of your past. Today, I want to share with you 5 key points that remind us what it really means to let it hurt, let it heal, and let it go so you can finally move on. When life cracks us open, our first instinct is often to close the wound quickly, to stitch it up with distractions, denial, or sheer willpower. We think if we can just push through, the hurt will eventually disappear on its own. But the truth is, pain does not evaporate simply because we want it to. It demands to be felt. Allowing yourself to let it hurt is the bravest act of honesty you can give yourself. It means looking directly at what happened instead of numbing it with business, silence, or fake smiles. It means telling yourself the truth. This hurt me. This mattered to me. This loss shook me. And that truth, telling, while terrifying, is the beginning of real healing. Pretending you're okay doesn't make you strong. It only prolongs the suffering beneath the surface. Real strength is in standing still long enough to face the ache you carry. We live in a culture that glorifies quick fixes, resilience without vulnerability, and positivity that often borders on denial. We're told to move on, as if heartbreak, betrayal, or disappointment should be shaken off like dust on our shoulders. But unacknowledged pain doesn't vanish. It grows roots inside of us. It hides in our bodies as tension, in our relationships as mistrust, and in our minds as self-doubt. By refusing to let ourselves hurt, we create more suffering later. That's why letting it hurt is not indulgence. It's discipline. It's allowing the body to release the tears, the trembling, the heaviness, instead of holding it all in like a dam about to burst. When you let it hurt, you create space for what's real, and that honesty is the foundation of peace. Letting it hurt also means dismantling the shame we attach to pain. Many of us believe that if we feel deeply, we are somehow weak, fragile, or incapable. But pain is not weakness. It is proof of love, of courage, of risking yourself in a world that offers no guarantees. To grieve is to honor what you lost. To ache is to acknowledge that you gave your heart to something that mattered. Only people who dare to love, to trust, to try, experience real pain, and while it may feel unbearable, it is also evidence of your humanity. It shows that your heart is alive. Instead of asking yourself, why does this hurt so much? Try asking, what does this hurt say about how deeply I cared? In that reframing, pain transforms from a punishment into a reminder of your capacity to connect and to feel. There is also a hidden strength in admitting, I am not okay right now. That simple admission dismantles the unrealistic expectations we carry. It relieves us of the performance of pretending, of carrying the mask that says, I've got it all together. Sometimes letting it hurt looks like lying on the floor and crying until your chest feels hollow. Sometimes it looks like sitting in silence because you don't have the words yet. Sometimes it looks like talking to a trusted friend or therapist and saying, I don't know how to move forward. These moments are not weakness, they are sacred acts of release. They remind you that you are not a machine meant to keep going without pause. You are a human being who is allowed to break, to pause, to feel. The paradox of pain is this: when you allow yourself to fully feel it, it eventually softens. What you resist will persist, but what you face will begin to shift. Think of pain like a wave. If you stand rigid against it, it will knock you down with more force. But if you let yourself move with it, feel it, acknowledge it, let it pass through you, it loses some of its power. Letting it hurt doesn't mean you stay there forever. It means you allow the wave to wash over you so it doesn't drown you later. You will not stay in the hurt forever, but you must walk through it to get beyond it. The only way out of pain is through it. And while that journey is raw and uncomfortable, it is also the one that leads you to true freedom. Healing does not arrive on its own like a package left on your doorstep. It requires deliberate attention. After you have let yourself hurt, after you have admitted to the cracks and the weight of your wounds, there comes a moment when you must choose whether to numb the pain or to nurture your way back to wholeness. Many of us confuse time with healing, thinking that if enough weeks or months pass, the wound will magically disappear. But time only creates distance. It does not automatically repair. Healing demands intentionality. It means making choices, sometimes every single day, that honor your recovery instead of burying your brokenness. It asks you to slow down, to listen inwardly, and to respond to your needs instead of running from them. Numbing is often our default response. We escape into endless scrolling, overworking, drinking, overeating, or any distraction that promises a temporary pause from the ache inside us. But numbing doesn't heal. It postpones. It presses the pain further underground where it grows heavier and more complicated to untangle later. Choosing healing over numbing means noticing when you are reaching for escape and asking yourself a braver question: what is it that I actually need right now? Sometimes what you need is rest. Sometimes it's a safe space to talk. Sometimes it's movement in your body or a walk in nature. True healing replaces numbing habits with nurturing ones, habits that don't erase your pain, but help you carry it in ways that strengthen you. Healing also requires patience with the non-linear nature of the journey. One day you might wake up feeling lighter, more free, as though the pain has finally loosened its grip. Then suddenly, the next day, or even the next hour, you may feel it rushing back, sharp and overwhelming. Too many people interpret this return of pain as failure, as proof that they haven't truly healed. But this is not failure. It is simply the rhythm of recovery. Healing is not a straight line upward. It is a spiral, looping back through familiar echoes, but at a different level of awareness each time. Each return is a reminder that you are still processing, still integrating, and still growing stronger. Accepting the spiral nature of healing prevents you from shaming yourself for not being over it fast enough. Another essential part of healing is allowing yourself to seek and receive support. Too often we isolate ourselves in our hurt, convinced that no one will understand, or worse, that we will be judged for our vulnerability. But healing thrives in safe connection. Speaking your truth to a friend who listens without fixing, sitting with a counselor who holds space for your pain, or joining a group where others share similar struggles, these acts weave threads of connection into your healing process. They remind you that you are not alone, that others have carried pain too, and that being witnessed in your hurt is itself a form of medicine. Healing in community teaches us that while our pain is personal, it is not meant to be carried in isolation. Perhaps the most profound part of choosing healing over numbing is the way it redefines your relationship with yourself. When you choose to heal, you declare that your heart, your body, and your mind are worth care. You no longer see your pain as a burden to hide, but as a wound to tend. You treat yourself with the gentleness you might give to a loved one who is hurting. This shift is radical because So many of us have learned to dismiss, ignore, or criticize ourselves when we're in pain. But healing flourishes when you practice self-compassion, when you tell yourself it's okay to be hurting. I will not abandon myself here. In this practice of compassion, healing becomes not just about getting better, but about becoming whole, about gathering back the pieces of yourself with tenderness and patience. Letting go is one of the hardest steps in moving forward because it feels like surrender, and surrender can feel like losing. We cling to our pain as if holding it tightly will give us some form of justice, as if replaying the memories, the words, or the mistakes will somehow rewrite the ending. But holding on to what hurt you does not punish the person who caused the wound. It only continues to wound you. Letting go is not erasing the past, and it's not forgetting what happened. It is making the conscious decision to stop carrying a weight that was never meant to be permanent. It is giving yourself permission to breathe again, to move freely without dragging the chains of yesterday behind you. We often misunderstand letting go, believing it means we must excuse or condone the harm that was done. But letting go does not mean saying what happened was okay. It means refusing to let the wrong define the rest of your story. When you hold on to anger, resentment, or regret, you bind yourself to the very thing that broke you. You become a prisoner of your own memory. Letting go is an act of power because it severs that chain. It says, I will not spend my energy feeding this pain any longer. It's the decision to reclaim your mind, your time, and your future from the grip of the past. Letting go is not a single moment, but a daily practice. Some days you may feel light, as if you've truly released it. Other days, the old wound might tug at you again, pulling you back into the story. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you are human. Letting go is like untying knots one by one. Sometimes you loosen them easily, and other times you find yourself working on the same knot for days. The important thing is the direction. Each attempt to release, each prayer whispered, each act of forgiveness, even if incomplete, is part of the process. With time, the knots loosen, the weight lessens, and the grip of the past begins to fade. One of the most freeing realizations in letting go is understanding what is and is not yours to carry. You are not responsible for someone else's choices, their inability to love you well, or the harm they inflicted. You are responsible only for your healing, your growth, and your peace. Many people hold on to pain because they secretly hope carrying it will somehow force the other person to recognize the damage they caused, to finally apologize, or to change. But waiting for that acknowledgement keeps you tied to them. Letting go means releasing the need for closure from the outside and choosing instead to create closure within yourself. It's saying, even if they never say sorry, even if they never see what they did, I choose freedom over bitterness. Perhaps the most powerful truth about letting go is that it's not just about releasing pain. It's about making space. When your hands are clenched tightly around old wounds, they are too full to receive anything new. By letting go, you open yourself to possibilities you couldn't even imagine while weighed down by resentment. You make room for peace, for joy, for love, for opportunities that align with who you are becoming instead of who you used to be. Letting go is not about losing. It is about creating space to gain. It is about walking into your next chapter lighter, freer, and no longer defined by what tried to break you. One of the most painful consequences of being hurt is not just the wound itself, but the way it begins to shape the story we tell ourselves. When something breaks us, we often internalize the damage letting it define our worth, our identity, and our future, we say to ourselves, I wasn't enough, or I always get abandoned, or I'll never be able to trust again. These stories begin quietly, but over time they become beliefs, and those beliefs become the walls that trap us. Redefining your story means breaking free from those limiting beliefs. It is the decision to no longer let what happened to you dictate who you are or what is possible for you moving forward. Redefining your story does not mean denying what happened. It does not mean pretending the betrayal, the heartbreak, or the disappointment never occurred. Instead, it means placing those experiences in a larger context, a story where they are a chapter, not the entire book. You cannot erase the chapter, but you can change the way you understand it. Was it painful? Yes. Did it leave scars? Absolutely. But it also revealed something about your strength, your resilience, and your capacity to keep moving even when you felt broken. Redefining your story is about shifting from this destroyed me, from this has shaped me. For I am a victim to am a survivor. From this was the end to this was a turning point. Because scores that tell ourselves matter determine on how we show up in the world. If you tell yourself you are unworthy, you will approach relationships, opportunities, and challenges with hesitation and fear. If you tell yourself you are resilient, you will step forward with confidence, knowing you can handle whatever comes. Redefining your story is not just about healing the past. It is about creating a future that aligns with your truth. It allows you to take control of the narrative instead of letting the pain write it for you. It is saying, this is what happened, but this is not who I am, Doms. Part of redefining your story also means reclaiming your voice. Too often, the story of our pain is told by others, the one who left, the one who betrayed, the one who judged. We let their actions or words become the lens through which we see ourselves. But when you take back your story, you strip them of that power. You no longer see yourself through their rejection, their cruelty, or their indifference. You begin to see yourself through your own resilience, your own courage, your own determination to rise. Redefining your story means refusing to let someone else's inability to love you well define how lovable you are. Ultimately, redefining your story is an act of liberation. It frees you from the false belief that your worth is tied to what happened to you. It reminds you that while pain may shape you, it does not have the right to label you. You are not the heartbreak, the betrayal, or the mistake. You are the one who endured it. You are the one who is still here, breathing, learning, growing. And that makes you so much more than what tried to break you. When you rewrite the story, you step into a narrative of power, of courage, of becoming. You step into a future that is written not by the hands of your pain, but by the hands of your possibility. The final step in moving forward is not just closing the door on the past. It's choosing to step into what comes after. Too many people stop at letting go. They release the pain, but then they remain stuck in the empty space, afraid to open themselves to life again. Stepping into what's next is about reclaiming your right to live fully. It's about giving yourself permission to hope, to love, to trust, and to dream again, even after disappointment. This step requires courage because it asks you to risk vulnerability once more, to show up in your life, not as someone defined by fear, but as someone willing to create a new chapter. Opening your heart again does not mean pretending you were never hurt. It means walking forward with the wisdom of your scars. Scars are not signs of weakness. They are reminders of survival. They show you where you've been, what you've endured, and what you've learned. Carrying those scars into the next chapter makes you more compassionate, more discerning, and more attuned to what truly matters. Stepping into what's next means allowing those lessons to guide you without letting the fear of being hurt again paralyze you. It's the balance of remembering without reliving, of using your past as a compass rather than a cage. Many people hesitate to open their hearts again because they believe doing so will erase the pain they've carried. But moving forward does not require forgetting, it requires integrating. It means acknowledging that your story includes loss and still choosing joy. It means recognizing that your heart has been broken and still daring to love. Integration is about holding both truths. I was hurt and I am healing. I lost something and I can still gain something new. When you step into what's next, you learn that life is not about avoiding pain at all costs. It is about embracing the fullness of experience, knowing that love and loss, joy and grief, risk and reward often walk hand in hand. Stepping into the next chapter also requires intentional vision. You cannot move into what's next by drifting aimlessly or clinging to the old. It takes conscious effort to ask yourself, what do I want to create now? Who do I want to become on the other side of this pain? Maybe it's rebuilding trust in relationships. Maybe it's pursuing a dream you shelved. Maybe it's embracing new friendships or environments that reflect your growth. This step is about choosing direction, even if it's small at first. Every step toward your vision, no matter how small, is a declaration that your life is bigger than what happened to you. Finally, stepping into what's next is an invitation to joy. For so long, your life may have been dominated by survival, by managing the weight of pain and loss. But there comes a moment when you are allowed to smile again, to laugh without guilt, to feel lightness without questioning whether you deserve it. And you do. You deserve the peace that comes from release, the joy that comes from renewal, and the love that comes from opening your heart again. This is not about ignoring the past. It is about refusing to let the past rob you of your future. When you step into what's next, you declare to yourself and to the world, I am ready for life again. Moving on is not about erasing your story. It's not about pretending that what broke you never happened. It's about honoring the hurt, choosing to heal, releasing what no longer serves you, and daring to open yourself to what comes next. It's about walking forward, not as the same person who was shattered, but as someone wiser, stronger, and more deeply connected to your own truth. Remember, this pain is not the enemy. Pain is a messenger, a signal that something mattered, that you lived, that you loved. Healing is not weakness. It is proof that you believe in your own worth. And letting go is not giving up. It is reclaiming your freedom from the grip of what you cannot change. The courage to move on is not found in forgetting, but in remembering differently. It's found in telling your story in a way that reflects not just the wounds, but also the resilience. You are not what happened to you. You are the one who endured, the one who survived, and the one who is still standing here today. So let it hurt, let it heal, let it go. And then step boldly into what's next, because your life is waiting for you. Your joy is waiting for you. And most of all, your future is so much bigger than your past.